Real sightings, real witnesses, real investigations. From the files of MUFON, this is a Northland MUFON Spotlight Case. A quiet family farm in the middle of North Dakota. A father, a daughter, a young child, and 2 dogs, settling in for the night under the open North Dakota skies. As they all laid down, the father looked up into the sky and saw something. At first, it looked like a star, but within seconds, that star began getting bigger and brighter and moving directly towards them. What happened as a moment of curiosity quickly turned into something else entirely. But whatever they were looking at wasn't supposed to slow down. The location was a family farm site in Wells County, North Dakota. It was evening, just after sunset, with the last light of dusk still hanging faintly in the sky. Inside a tent, the witness, their father, a 5-year-old niece, and 2 dogs were settling in for the night. Then, almost casually, the father glanced upward and said, "Hey, the North Star." At first, nothing seemed unusual, but when the witness finally sat up to look, they immediately knew that something wasn't right. What appeared to be a star was too bright, too large, and moving far too fast. "Dad, it's coming at us." The tone shifted instantly from calm to alarm. The father grabbed his glasses and sat upright, and then he said something that confirmed it. "Oh, wow." For a few seconds they watched in silence, stunned, trying to process what they were seeing. The witness, someone familiar with aircraft, air shows, and military aviation activity, began mentally eliminating possibilities. Was it an airplane? Nope. Was it a helicopter? Nope. This was not anything they'd ever seen before. At first, one explanation seemed to fit. A meteor. Fast, bright, massive. But then, something changed. It started slowing down. And that's the moment everything shifted. Because meteors don't slow down. And they don't hover. As the object continued to decelerate, fear set in. Based on its trajectory, the witness believed it could impact the ground within miles. The thought was immediate and chilling. This is it. This is how I die. But instead of descending, the object slowed further, almost deliberately. And then came a decision. The father asked, "Do you have your camera?" "I do, yes. It was in the truck." The truck was 50 feet away. A decision had to be made and made fast. The witness decided it was a split-second choice. Run. The witness jumped out of the tent, ran across the dark ground, and reached the truck. Door, open, camera, grab, case, unzip. All of this while trying not to lose sight of the object. Now it was closer. A few seconds of inspection revealed something extraordinary. The object was enormous, estimated to be about the size of a football stadium. A glowing, bright white sphere surrounded by a metallic-looking ring. Was it silver or gray? It was structured, defined, not a blur, not a streak. This was a solid object. At its closest, it appeared to be between 10,000 and 15,000 feet in altitude, and somewhere between 5 to 20 miles away. And yet there was no sound. No engine, no wind, nothing. But then without warning, the object changed direction. It began moving slowly to the east. It was going away from them. A sigh of relief, but then it accelerated. However, that wasn't the strangest part, because just seconds earlier, this object had nearly stopped in midair. The witness raised the camera, struggling to track the object as it picked up speed. In the darkness, through the viewfinder, trying to keep up, 2 photos, just seconds before it vanished completely. The witness stood for what seemed forever, even though it was only a minute or so. She then returned to the tent. The father reviewed the photos, and that's when something else became apparent. The sky was now completely dark, pitch black. Moments later, there had still been light in the sky. And somehow, in what felt like less than a minute, the sky went from dusk to pitch black. Daylight was gone. And even more unsettling, the 5-year-old niece, she was sound asleep. The case was ultimately classified as unknown. The investigator was unable to reestablish contact with the witness. However, there are several elements of this case that stand out. There was a large structured object, not just a point of light, a controlled deceleration and directional change, a complete lack of sound at altitude, a witness with aviation familiarity, multiple observers present, and photographic evidence captured. Conventional explanations such as meteors, aircraft, or satellites, they all fail to fully account for the observed behavior. But there's one question that still lingers. If this object wasn't entering the atmosphere and wasn't falling, then what exactly was it doing? Because on that quiet night in North Dakota, something came out of the sky, slowed down, watched, and then left. And whatever it was, it knew exactly where it was going. This has been another Northland MUFON Spotlight case. And until next time, keep those eyes to the sky, because you never know what you're going to see.